lost a button on my jacket. That's not good. Hey, buddy.
What's up, man?
Got a new background. You like my new background?
Yeah, actually, you know what? To be honest with you, man, the jet is fun, but that looks legit. That's like the real deal, man.
I got a couple good ones I downloaded today. You could use them too. Anybody can use them.
I know, man. It's just limited resources where I am. And like this paper backdrop thing has been a savior, man.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. Like look at all these different ones I have. Watch. Let me see if I could do them before we get people on here.
What's funny is it works. It works really good for you, but you're the only one.
Yeah, you saw the library, right?
Yeah.
Then I have this
nice.
one. Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? I think I'm going to use this one because it's getting to be nighttime. So
yeah, right. That's pretty funny.
I got this office environment.
I like that one too, man. Those were great downloads.
Got this one, sundown. Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're fun. They're fun.
It is really fun. How's my sound?
Good. Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Check this lighting. All right, that's good. Yeah, we got this down to a science now, man. I think the key is that plugging direct into the router. Like we didn't make a blip, man. Any of these calls, like we were on perfect.
Yeah, I think it was last night. I think it was Oscar's internet connection. Still came off well though. So
yeah.
People jumping in here early already. Yep, 3 attendees. Okay, it's fine if they jump in. Attendees, if you can hear us, we're just setting up, so don't sweat it. So we got somebody on chat already. Get the chat box up. Okay, we can't see you. Like that video, Jennifer, right? Did you see that on the internet? The Zoom where the girl's in the bathroom with her laptop and didn't realize it?
So funny. You got to think, right? Between Zoom and Skype, how many people are on calls from home and you just don't realize, you know?
Oh my God, Kim, you got to look that video up. It's called, just type in girl in bathroom during Zoom call. It's hysterical. Everybody's just going around the internet. Don't be Jennifer instead of don't be Karen, right? Is Angela going to be on Facebook tonight or not?
Yeah, she's on chat.
Or is she rounding up the troops?
Yeah, a little of both, man.
Yeah. I don't know if I could take another couple weeks of this stuff or a month of this stuff. I might lose my. I might either I'm going to become a stone cold alcoholic or lose my mind.
It's funny, right? It's like when you think about it, man. It's like there's just so many. You know, and I know you're like me. How many phone calls are you on a day? Like hours on the phone, like crazy.
I had 12 coaching calls today before this.
Yeah.
I'm like really, I'm really like shot out. I mean, they started at 8:30 this morning. I was like, oh, after last night, and at 8:30 this morning, I got to be on peak game already at 8:30 in the morning. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm hoping with some of the stuff with the, finally with actually getting some traction with the SBA loans and stuff and what they are. A lot of the calls I've been on have been all that, right? Like,
oh yeah.
So crazy. And it's hard because you don't actually have an answer if it's not passed.
And it's passed. The problem is it's not going to be what I understand is the new one that everybody's interested in, that bridge payroll one, and it doesn't have to be payroll. See, everybody's confused thinking they have to keep people on the books and everything for their payroll. You can use the money for your rent, your utilities, you can use it for whatever you want, but it's 8 weeks of money for free basically. But the thing is, it doesn't, although it was passed, it's not going to be live until Friday.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point because that's what I deciphered out of it is it's based on those payroll that 2+ times or whatever. It's based on the number, but you don't have to use it for that. And that's what people are, it's great to have these infographics and everything that make it look like it's great. And some of them have been really helpful, but you figure if you're lost, man, you're lost. I don't care how pretty the picture is or what the cartoon looks like. It's like, hey man, this is just,
I know.
too much.
But people should just apply for it because it's free money. You can even use your owner's salary towards it. So if you make $100,000 a year, you can just use that towards your owner's salary. So
Yeah.
whatever. That's all stuff. Everybody's been doing all these quick webinars and everything on it. I'm not going to do a webinar on it until next week after some of this stuff is actually implemented, because right now people are bombarding all these sites and they're going, I can't find it. I can't find it. They can't find it because it's not available yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
So hopefully Steven will get in here soon just so we can make sure he's all set up.
Yeah. I'm seeing Kim's comments. I know. Kim, type in the chat. Where are you? What state? All right. Yeah. You guys are hit pretty hard too. I mean, we're in Bergen County. You guys are probably, you and Louisiana are the next two. So whatever they're telling us to do, hopefully you guys, fingers crossed, do it sooner, because New York, this area is like bananas right now.
Yeah. So let me, I just want to jump over here and make sure, see if I get any messages.
Yeah, I think so too, Kim. I think April, the only thing you hope is that, when you say awful and everything moves, you hope that it's because of testing, right? That they realize that the cases that are out there. So let the testing spike and then let the numbers go down, because we haven't even hit the spike here yet. So that's sort of where, I'm afraid in terms of reopening and everything. It's like, hey, if it hasn't spiked, you can't really do much until at least that point.
I mean, trying to think what state it is. Virginia. Virginia,
Yeah.
Everybody is close down to, I think, the second week of June.
Yeah.
So, I always look at worst case scenarios. That's why it's important to get these loans, get your stuff in order while you have the time off and all that great stuff. All the things we've been saying all along. But it's a lot to follow because the government hasn't laid it out in a clear, concise format yet. And each state is different for that matter, which is kind of annoying, right? Like here, I just learned today that you don't go through the SBA, you go through the whatever it is, the ED, what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
New Jersey
EDIP or whatever it is, something.
Yeah, their own division for it. And I'm like, really? Hey, Christine.
Yeah, hey Chris. It's funny. I sent. We've banked with Chase locally for a long time, and I had a good friend that. Unfortunately, when you have a good friend that's actually good, he gets promoted up in the ranks, so he can't really take care of the small business stuff anymore. So I've been hammering him by text message for like the last bunch of days, and that's how I found out Friday was sort of the day. So I'm actually hoping that because they have a lot of our info, if they're able to be a lender because they're one of the big three or big five, that
I have Wells Fargo, and I'm hoping the same thing, right? Wells Fargo obviously has my business accounts. They know exactly what I make. It should be kind of a no-brainer for your own banks, but who the hell knows?
Well, that's the key, right? So my friend Ryan, we've known each other for 20 years. He doesn't even know. So when I have that call with the banker and he's like, hey, dude, I don't know. We're hoping we get the agreement to be able to do the funding on Friday. You're right. They are aligned with SBA, but that's where the confusion came in, right? For them too, is that initially SBA was like a loan, and then disaster came in, and now they sort of brought it back where banks can actually lend it too. So it's just really confusing.
It is. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not giving any advice yet, except for file as soon as you can, keep in touch with your state. And, that's the only advice you can give because every state's different right now. And like I said, this new 10-week or whatever it is, the 2.5 times your payroll thing, it's not even available yet. And they're announcing it every week. So there goes my computer blowing up with the 15-minute reminder, and it's 10 minutes up. Great. Good job. Good timing. Even all the email servers are slow today. I don't know what's going on. The internet must be so overloaded right now.
Yeah. And that's what's hard too. Even, for you guys at home, Derek and I, from the technology standpoint, IT bandwidth for your servers and things, a lot of your, whether you're Verizon or wherever your local is, they had all sort of committed to raising everybody's internet speed to the maximum because all the kids home from school. I don't think they actually did that. I think it was there because maybe they did, and that's why it's so bad. It's still, but it's been hard. But we upgraded at home as high as I could get without having a service person come out, and I'm plugged directly in, and I know Derek's plugged directly in, and a lot of the panelists and educators are. So that's been a big help, especially if you're going to be heavy using and working with heavy software for your clients and contacts and things. So it's just keeps it interesting.
So we still have another 10 minutes before we kick off here. Hopefully Steve will be in here shortly. I don't see any messages on Facebook from him yet. I just fire up my email and double check my email, make sure he's not having a hard time getting in.
You're starting to get a good round of people signing in early, which is always great. Just so you guys, you're early adopters, because obviously, except for Oscar, we care what everybody says. Hey, what's up, Oscar? I'm only kidding. The Q&A on the bottom, right? When you click in there, so you can make all your comments in the chat, which is cool. But when you have actual questions, pop them in the Q&A, be as specific as possible. And if it's something we have to circle back, that was really helpful with Oscar last night, because some people put some really good questions in there. So it helped us to kind of moderate and send them back. Anybody that hasn't been on the past 2 nights, I heard the first night was unbelievable. I don't know. The opener was, they're blowing the doors off. Oscar was good, but I heard the first night was like, woof, that was great. But yeah, Oscar was great last night. Really empowering. Yeah, I know, Oscar. No, I'm only teasing. I did the first night, but Oscar was great last night. Actually gave us personally a lot of content to talk about today with our staff. Most staff being home now. So if you guys get a chance, go into the Salon Ops group and, go back.
Salon Owner Mastermind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Salon Owner Mastermind. But go back and watch them. They're all about an hour. We try to keep them down to it. So pop your earphones in. It was just a lot of really great content, man. And Oscar, thanks yesterday, man. You did a fantastic job.
And here we go. We're firing up the Facebook Live. If you're wondering what I'm doing, keep your fingers crossed. Let's hope we get a live connection tonight.
Let's see.
It's still running here. Here we go. Oh, that new backdrop does look good. Let me keep that one instead of the airplane.
Yeah, I like it, man. What is that, San Fran?
No, it's New York, I think. Hold on, we're going live here. And we are live in Facebook. So, cool. Let me jump back into Zoom. There we go. Now I'm back in. So we should be live in there. Let's see. Let's scroll up, see if it's in the group. Why do I not see it? There we go. Okay, we got 5 on live already. Cool. 23 in here. Hang in there, gang. We'll be starting in a few. Obviously, we need our panelists in here.
See.
Do you have Steve's number or not? James?
Oh, no, but let me text him in the group.
Huh?
I'm going to text him in the group.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, Oscar's going to text him. Okay. Hey, Michelle, to your question about the tech, believe it or not, this is all stuff that hopefully, because everyone's sort of limited in how they can have contact now, just message us or, message Derek and Salon Owner Mastermind, because a lot of these things like Zoom are pretty easy to use. And if you're a salon owner and have staff at home, there's so many great ways. It works on an iPhone through an app. It works on your whether it's a Mac or a PC. It's really, I don't know what we did before this, man, because I was a Skype guy before, and that always kind of
Oh my
was
God,
painful,
Skype is like dinosaur now, right?
right?
So what I do is, because of the version we're on, there are free versions and there are paid versions. This version is a paid version. We're able to run webinars and do Facebook Live at the same time. You can actually run Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and something else live. I forget which ones, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Michelle was just asking, you're like transporting yourself to different dimensions, but you know, you have to understand, Michelle, he's got that military haircut. So the green screen, it's favorable for that sometimes.
So the backgrounds that I have in mind, that's actually not my background. It's a green screen background, which means it's a fake background. Hey, Steve.
What's up, brother? Can you hear us?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. We can.
How are you?
Good, man. What's up? Hey, listen, I wore my special shirt for you, man, because I know you're going to be like the eye of the tiger. I had to make sure you're ready to go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sorry, it took me a couple minutes to get up in here. Been a busy life. That's, you know, that's for all of us.
We were just talking about that. I had 12 calls today. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, I've been 5 a.m. Starts to 8, 9 o'clock at night with calls and webinars, and it's crazy, man. We go live tomorrow in Italy. I've got a distributor that I'm working with there, and I'm going to be on to answer questions for everybody over there and offer perspective from our side of the pond. So it's never ending, my friends, but that's what we're here for, you know.
That's it. That's it.
It's really
That's
cool, man. Italy, what a shame, man. Italy just got hammered.
They did. They really, really did. I've been talking 2-3 days a week with a salon in Catania, Sicily, and they're one of the more advanced salons over there. I got to be over there in January and do some work with, I had about 70 salons from all over the country that spent a couple days with me. We had taken some of my spreadsheets and translated them and changed all the percentages and tax codes and everything to make it more indigenous to their country. And in being over there, they all pay by the hour. They don't offer retail commission. They have super high tax percentages and codes that they got to adhere to. They don't sell gift cards. Most of them don't use software. You know, they're just completely different regions of the world, operate in completely different ways than we do. You know, so because they don't have a lot of these advancements that we have, it's been that much more challenging for them to communicate with people, communicate with customers. So, you know, it's really interesting to deal with what we deal with, but then you're talking to people in other regions of the world that have it even, you know, that have it way worse than we do, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. This whole situation is interesting to say the least, right?
Very much so. Very much so. But, you know, I think it provides us perspective, though. It allows us to look at what we do have that we can be thankful for. You know, and I think it's really easy to be looking at what we're losing right now, but what are we thankful for? What can we be grateful for? You know, we can be grateful for things like this. We can be grateful for the technology that allows us to stay connected. We can be grateful for the ease with which we can get our hands on information and stuff that's going to help and, you know, provide real support, you know?
Yeah, could you imagine this 5 years ago when we were trying to use Skype and slower internet connections, right?
What's that?
Forget about it. Yeah.
What is that? Right? I'm just going to move. I got a light shining on me, but it's not bright enough, so I'm just going to move it closer.
Shine a light. Shine a light.
Yes.
That's how he's starting his seminar. He did that on purpose.
I know
Exactly.
that. And God descended on Gomez.
Andrew, you haven't changed a bit, man. But, you know, last time I saw you was about 20 pounds ago in my world, bro, in the wrong direction. love it. Oh
God.
God, I see the chat thing blaring up. Oh, I love it. Nikki and Oscar were all over me on text. They're waiting for you, man.
So let's get started in 5 minutes, just to give a couple more people in here, and then we'll kick this thing off. Okay.
Cool. So just so you guys know, I've got a PowerPoint queued up. I've got spreadsheets open. So I will be sharing stuff and minimizing and going back and forth with this thing. So thank goodness to working with Oscar on some of his things. I've learned how to share documents, and I should be pretty easeful. But if I'm having any technical challenges, I'll just ask you guys for help.
And I understand you're going to do 90 of those bricks tonight.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hey, that would be really cool.
Yeah,
Everyone comes up and does the bricks. The brick.
There's no brick rap coming out of this fella. I'm gonna bust out a cash flow rap on everybody tonight. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Hey, listen, man, what you guys don't know is the wrap up of this, that the panelists and it's just going to be the panelists. So anybody that's a guest, we're going to do this. We're all going to drink, and we're going to make each other do all these things. We're going to throw bricks. We're going to throw sustainability. We're going to do this privately. We'll record it, and then we'll see if we can get somebody really good at editing to see if we can turn it into something fun.
I have to tell you, man, Oscar tosses, he really tosses up a ton of bricks on the basketball court. That I know for sure.
He's not on video tonight, so you can say anything you want about him.
I know full well.
Oscar's a big boy. He's a serious guy.
Oh, I know he is. You know what, though? If you've not been invited to his golf outing, and I've participated in 3 of those in my life, then, Oscar, I would say if you're listening to this right now, that this next golf outing should be rather packed, bro. And he does a amazing after party, and he brings in the people that just whip out those tacos, and oh my God, it's so fun and so good. So Oscar knows how to get down with no frown, that's for sure.
That's funny.
All right, 2 minutes, and then we're going to get started.
Just so everybody knows that Steven and Oscar are roommates. So Oscar's actually in the other room. This is their.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This is their coaching pitch. He goes in.
Yeah, that's funny.
Thank God my wife is not here. The paint color is very similar.
Oh man, we go back. Yeah, we go way back in the day. Remember those days, Andrew? It was like Dukoff. It was STI. It was Lauren. Yeah. There was like maybe 4 of us out there. Remember those days?
Oh, I remember those days.
Golly, man. We'd all get 3 classes a day at the shows. Where did those days go? Now we're lucky to get 1 class a day if we're lucky,
Where are the shows? Where did those days go?
Yeah, where are the shows? They're right here.
That's right.
Exactly.
Hey.
This is the way we're going to go forward. We're going to create this giant virtual event on a regular basis. The shows have become a big yard sale, in my opinion, right? And,
yeah.
I mean, it's sad to say, but that's what they're like.
Hell no, roommate. Oscar's funny.
Oscar. That's fun.
I love it. Clean that room, Oscar, for once, for crying out loud.
His stinky bricks are laying all over the place.
Oscar, take off your day pajamas for your nighttime pajamas now, okay? I love it.
And that's Felix Gomez. Okay.
Hey, ready to get this show rolling?
I'm ready to rumble, guys.
Steven, knock him dead.
Awesome. So,
mute everybody except Steve for right now. Hold on one second, Steve. Okay, everybody, welcome to tonight's lesson. Tonight, we are honored to have Steven Gomez on, teaching a bunch of business strategies. Really excited about this whole thing we're doing with the industry, and excited Steven has decided to participate, donate his time and his knowledge to all of you. So with that, Beauty Business Reset is going to kick it off to Steve. Steve, it's all yours.
Thank you very, very much. I know I can still see you on the main camera. I don't know if people see me on the main camera now that I'm speaking, but at any rate,
Yeah, Steve, just click on the top right-hand corner, click the gallery, click gallery view, and that'll take
Enter
me
full
off of the
screen.
main.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, awesome. So it's my honor to be with everybody today in this new normal environment that we are traversing through. I want to take a couple of minutes for those of you that don't know who I am to introduce myself to you, so you can get a little background on me, and then I'm going to walk you through what I'm going to teach today. This is going to be interactive from the standpoint of we'll do some Q&A throughout and at the end for sure, but I'm going to be pulling up some slides and walking you through some content. I'm going to be giving everybody who watches this a gift tonight of a few of my spreadsheets that are relevant to the times that we're facing right now and that can provide support to you. But let me just tell you how I've earned the right to be here as your facilitator tonight. I've been in and around the industry most of my life. I'm from Chicago originally. I live in Southern California now. I grew up in the restaurant business and our industry. Went to school for restaurant management and marketing, thought that was going to be my life. Got burnt out working 90-hour weeks in my uncle's biz, left that, came back over to our side, and also launched a marketing company. And I marketed salons all over the US for about a 7-year stretch. Loved what I did. But when it came to managing cash flow, when it came to replacing myself with people that could do what I could do so I could run my company, I never was good at any of those things. I never got past algebra in high school. I never thought I'd be smart enough to understand it. So I avoided it, kept the tips, kept the cash sales like a lot of us do, lived in the moment. I figured, hey, we're fully booked. I'm busy with my client base. I've got money coming in tomorrow. Life is good. Let's go shopping. Let's go to those steak dinners. I was living in the now. I also thought because I had never got past the algebra that I'd never be able to understand that stuff. So I told myself that at an early age that, well, since I'm not smart enough, I'm going to have to out hustle everybody. I'll have to be the first one there. I'll have to be the last one to leave. And that was my mentality. So I got audited in the year 2000. They looked at the bank statements and sales receipts and they saw the cash discrepancy and they went 5 years back on me and I owed them 80 grand I didn't have. And that drove me to bankruptcy, lost my home, lost any dollar I had, went through a divorce, was down to about $1,000 in my bank account, sleeping on my brother's couch and driving around in my old Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I didn't want to give up on my dream. And it was at that time that one of my clients I was working with introduced me to a coach that he was working with. And he had me give her a ride to the airport. And that 20-minute ride, I wouldn't be on this conversation if it wasn't for that defining moment in my world. And we all faced and have had defining moments, and we're certainly in one now. And she offered me a chance to come out to their company's retreat in San Diego that year, and I took them up on it to market my company. And it was great for my business, and it was a boost I needed. But more importantly, the message from that stage transformed me. I knew that I had found people that can help me. So I couldn't afford to hire them, but I couldn't afford not to. So I went home to Chicago and went back to the Bank of Mom, and we all know that bank in our lifetime in some iteration or form. And I got the loan to hire my coach, and I started to work on myself and started to turn things around. And little did I know that the first thing I had to change and shift in my world was my perception, my thinking. Because I never got past algebra and told myself I wasn't smart enough, that process was fueling my decision making, and it was deeply embedded in my subconscious, and I didn't even realize the far-reaching impacts it was having on my actions and behaviors. So working with my coach, not only did I get financially organized and learn how to get the budget going and understand my P&Ls and get everything in the right place, but most importantly, I shifted my relationship to all of it. And in realizing that I was smart enough, and that instead of approaching it from lack or anxiety, approaching it from curiosity and abundance, and just that little shift in thinking created a whole new world for me. And I was able to go on and pay off all the debt, rebuild my credit, sell the business for a profit. That whole journey was so transformative for me that when that company offered me a chance to join them, I immediately jumped on it. And within a 2-week stretch, I shut everything down in Chicago for my brother to sell off, and off to California I went. And from then to now, I've worked with and coached over 446 salons and spas of all different shapes and sizes. My commitment as a coach is to look at your business and look at what's working, but maybe you're working really hard to make it work. And what's a system that we can put in place that, if we do, creates a bit more ease for you, frees up more time for you as a leader to be more accessible to the people that trust you to guide them. Also, my commitment as a coach to look at what's not working the way you want it to, and what's the missing system that we can put in place to really foment transformation in your culture and in your business. I'm also a trainer. I've been able to train. I've been honored to train all over our world as a facilitator. Andrew and I go way back in the day, sharing training rooms together out on the road. God, this is 17, 18 years ago now. I've known Oscar for years. He and I share training rooms, Nikki as well, Gino Stampora. I mean, a lot of the trainers here, I've been able to grace the stage and share trainings with them. So many friends here that I love and care about that are coming, that came yesterday and that are coming ahead of this after I teach tonight. So whether it's in Moscow where we went and we had 150 owners, to Ireland with 500, to going down to Bogota, Colombia, and bringing systems. There's one thing that this coach and trainer will tell everybody on this phone call today: virus or no virus, abundance or lack, our industry, whether no matter where we are, no matter what the language is, no matter what the monetary system is or the way of thinking is, our industry has similarities the world over. We all serve people. We all touch people. We all need to guide people. We all need to lead people. We all need to have budgets. We all need to have systems. We all need to market ourselves. We all need to train constantly. And that is the same the world over. And I'm honored to bring a global message from a financial perspective to you guys tonight, and to facilitate systems and steps that can support you. That company I worked for got bought by Milady. A lot of you might remember Milady from cosmetology school. So I worked with them for 8 years as a writer and as a subject matter expert. Love that. But my passion's training and coaching. So left them in 2016. I launched my own brand and haven't looked back. At that time I was 46 and I was asking myself, what did I want the next 20 years of my professional life to look like? And what would I look back on and be regretful of if I didn't do it? And that was getting back to training and coaching and realizing that I felt I had a message that I wanted to bring bigger than the brands I had worked with. So I took that risk. I cashed out my 401k and I launched everything. And I wrote my first book, Financial Fitness, which this class that I'm teaching tonight is going to be based on. I wrote another book called Interdependent Leadership, Creating a Salon and Spa Culture of Inclusive Growth in 2017. I thought that was going to be a recruiting book, but I really realized that recruiting is a symptom of missing things that are occurring in the culture. And when we work on strengthening our culture, we keep people longer. And when we keep people longer, we become more attractive. When we become more attractive, we find the right type of person that's committed to be in the type of culture that's based on the type of values, that's based on the type of systems that we have to offer them. So I wrote that. I'm working on a book called The Service Cycle as we speak, which I'm real excited about. So, that's a little bit about me professionally. I'm married to the most amazing woman. My wife's name is Nancy. A lot of people on here, my fellow presenters know and love her as well. And she keeps me grounded and keeps me humble and kicks my ass. She just was right before I got on this. Thank God for that. you know, and I'm here to serve. I'm very passionate about serving us. You know, we spend our lives, other than this crisis, on our feet with our hands and heart in people every day, helping them. But the interesting dichotomy is that we don't do the same for ourselves. We don't spend enough time in these type of conversations. Or we have these type of conversations, but we let the busyness and the behaviors and the habits get in the way of transforming how we operate and how we lead our business. So I'm really excited to be part of this and all the other resources that are out there that have been able to bring me in to bring this message to you guys today. And you're welcome, Christine. I appreciate that acknowledgement. You know, we are here to serve. We are only as good as the people that we're here to serve. And every coach and educator that is involved in this, we are committed to elevate you. And we are committed that you're not just inspired because these feelings wear off, but that you're compelled to act. You're compelled to shift. You're compelled to do things differently. So I invite all of you to put a bit more at stake during this crisis. And what I mean by that is lean in to what's uncomfortable. Lean into those areas in your business that you have not taken the time to dig into yet. Lean into those areas that you think you might not be smart enough in, and let my message and my story of what I had to go through shift that. I'm about to bring you some financial perspective. I'm a guy that nerds out on the numbers now, like Derek and like Andrew do. You know, here's a guy that never got past algebra that's got a book with 23 salon-specific spreadsheets in it. So if I can go from that to this, so can you in your ability to take on any area in your business that you feel you struggle with. If it happens to be the finance, we're digging right into that right now. So let me go ahead and share my PowerPoint with everybody, and let me bring this up on the screen. So what I'm going to dig into today is right from my financial fitness book. And man, I centered that thing really well at the top. Isn't that awesome? Us coaches are really particular, aren't we? Anyways, I'm going to walk you through 6 ways that we can create more profit and more abundance. I'm going to talk about the importance of financial organization tonight. I'm going to get into key performance indicators, and I'm going to bust out some specific percentages that all of you should be dialing into in your analysis of how your company has been performing now while you're on break, and that can propel you into your future. I'll talk about the importance of tracking and the context with which I relate to it. We're going to dig into an area that we all know creates more profit for us. But, you know, in my years of being around, I always felt people would say we need, you know, retail is your retirement, but there was never real planning around it. So I'm going to actually dive into how you can plan for that and how you can be using that when you reopen to your advantage. How to determine your price point and how important that's going to be in the months ahead, and how to get your team involved in all of these conversations. Now, Derek, I'm going to need your help because I am now on this screen and I'm not looking at Q&A. As I'm presenting, if there's questions that you see or field or James or any of you, please unmute yourself and interrupt me. I don't care about being stopped in the middle of my sentence. I'll finish my thought and then I'll go to a question. Sound good, you guys?
Yeah. Hey, Steve, just one thing for you is that the questions come up a couple of times if the slides are going to be available. So for you guys, anything in the live, the slides are obviously going to show up, but I'm sure Steve will have some links and things if you guys need to access them separately.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send the slides. I also am going to share, I'm going to share an example spreadsheet that won't be available because it's coming from direct work with a client who's nice enough to allow me to share the information tonight with you. So you can see the power of a point I'm going to make. But there's 3 spreadsheets that I'm going to gift to all of you guys tonight. So I'll make sure that this presentation plus those spreadsheets get out to everybody so that you can get to work on them. And please write this down right now. My direct email is info at stephengomez.net, STEPHEN GOMEZ as in zebra.net. So as you're working through these spreadsheets, if you have any questions for me, just feel free to email me. Even send the spreadsheet filled out back over with your questions, and I have no problem helping anybody out that's on here that is up for going on that transformative journey with me. So let's dig right in and talk about financial organization. And boy, wouldn't we all love to just dive into a pile of that, right? Especially with what's going on right now in our world. Well, let's talk about how we can make that pile grow bigger. Now, one mindset I want you guys to take on right now, because you can choose to do it, is that we are in a crisis right now. Our lives have been changed in so many different ways and will moving forward. However, as long as we don't die from this, and let's say a prayer that that doesn't occur for anybody that's listening to this tonight, then we're going to live through this no matter how hard it is. And this is a micro moment in a long lifetime. So we have to be thinking macro. So I'm going to be teaching things that you should be learning, adopting, being refreshed and reminded of, and working on all the time, no matter what the heck's going on. That's what I'm bringing to you today, a macro dialogue that can have you be connected to principles and steps that you should be taking moving forward always. So with that being said, here's where I am going to ask James for you to unmute yourself.
I'm good, man.
And when I put this image up, I want everybody there listening on Q&A to type in the first feeling or thought you have when you see this. Go for it. I know Derek's fired up. Look at him chewing on it. He's diving in. So is Andrew. Yummy. So James, let me know what we're feeling. What's the first feeling or thought? And don't write out a sentence. Give it to me in one word, like curiosity or anxiety or overwhelm or whatever it is. What are you getting, James?
Yeah, I mean, definitely curiosity. I'm a big KPI guy in our salon because I don't do hair. So anytime I see spreadsheets, I'm just as jazzed up as you are. But yeah, definitely curiosity.
What are you seeing in the chats? What are people answering for me?
Let's see what oh my God, they're hammering you.
I love it. Hammer away. What are we getting?
Money. So money, writing a budget, office. There's some of them are sick to their stomach, insight and answers, work with an exclamation, fun with an exclamation, cray cray from Linda.
I love it.
Another fun. Anonymous said blah. Kelly's been commenting a lot. She loves spreadsheets.
Awesome.
Gary,
awesome.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you expect
Perfect.
a lot of the fun stuff.
So here's why I'm asking this, everyone, because I just gave you 2/3 of my cash flow analysis spreadsheet as an example, just to put it up on the screen for you guys. And I'm asking you how you feel about it, because myself, Derek, Andrew, James, we cannot control your learning experience. You can. So those of you that put curious or anything empowering, you're about to go on a great journey with me. Those of you that answered blah or overwhelm or cray cray or any of those thoughts, that can be your choice for the next hour. Enjoy thyself. Or you can shift that, because you have all the power in the world to shift that. So if your answer was anything other than empowering, we invite you to shift your perspective from blah to yes, from anxiety, curiosity, from cray cray to rock and roll. We can shift our thinking on a dime. Your facilitators and educators can. You, my salon owners, take this tip of what I'm doing with you right now. I'm getting you conscious to how you relate to something so that you can be responsible and shift it. Because your facilitators can't, only you can. And you as owners, as leaders, should be doing the same thing with your team when you're facilitating to them. A lot of times we're not conscious to this. We just go in, roll the sleeves up, and start training away with no relationship to checking in with our team as to how they even can relate to the subject matter. And then we wonder why some of them get it and some of them don't. So we as leaders have to be responsible. So I invite each of you, if you were relating to seeing this spreadsheet as anything other than empowering, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just your first initial human reaction to it. It's perfect. I'm getting you present to it so you can shift it. You can put the F between the I and the T and shift that shit, because those stinking thinking thoughts are going to get in our way and it's going to deter the process. Each of us can shift and come from a place of curiosity, excitement, abundance, and really delve into the world of finance. If that was valuable, give me some yays and some hell yeahs, and James, tell me if I'm getting some good comments on that bad boy, brother.
You're getting killed, man, between comments and the Q&A and everything else. You're having a lot of people empowered. I'm getting, yeah, yes.
Good. That's what I love seeing and hearing, everybody. So let's all buckle in a new perspective, and let's dig into the world of finance, because our perception is the first place we must start. Doesn't matter what spreadsheet we get. Doesn't matter what program we get. Salon Ninja is a great program that you can be using to support your business from a marketing perspective, among other things. But if you relate to the fact that you're not tech savvy and that's your first thought, you just put that barrier in between you seeing anything that is useful. So let's remove the barriers ourselves and dig into education. So first of all, let's talk about our habits around money. I was talking with a good buddy of mine, Ward Bassett, who owns Bassett Salon Solutions out here on the West Coast. He's a distributor, and he's in 8 states, and I have a business partnership with him. So any business workshop and stuff, I'm his guy, and we rock the house together. And we were talking about, what are the habits that salon professionals and owners should be working on shifting, no crisis or no crisis. And we had a really great dialogue, and we did a Hairbrain Live together last night at this time, and we were talking about this stuff. So I busted it up on a screen for you guys, so we can look at shifting habits. We can look at old habits like paying with credit cards, spending impulsively, and the I want it now-ness of the world. New habits like paying in cash. And if I don't have the cash, I'm not jacking up credit cards and getting interest. Spending impulsively to giving myself small rewards when I want something for a job well done by following my budget or hitting specific sales goals. And from I want it now to do I really need it now? So if you can take this information and bring it back to your teams and have a Zoom meeting within the next 7 days and teach this and have this meaningful exchange with your team, begin to talk about what were our habits pre-COVID. And now that we're in the thick of it, and if you have team members that are struggling, filing for unemployment, they could be sitting there in their houses right now, stuck in that situation, or you can shake them out of it and get them thinking long-term macro in their habits and in their thinking now. So shifting from old habits to new habits. I learned from a coach that I worked with years ago, shift 3 things and adopt 3 new ones in its place. So take that as a mantra that you can work on in any facet of your life, everyone. Imagine if we just did what's on the screen right now, what would happen in our world and what would happen in the world of our team. So financial organization is critical, but it starts with thinking and it starts with analyzing behaviors. What are 9 steps that we can utilize to create financial abundance? Obviously, paying with cash. Pay yourself first. How many of us have read money management books, from the Dave Ramseys of the world to the Ken Yamasakis who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, those type of books. They all tell us, pay yourself first and pay yourself 10%. You can pay yourself a higher percentage, but paying yourself first is mission critical. What would it be like if you didn't rely on tip income to pay any bills? If you pivoted down the road and used all that and were putting it into an IRA every quarter or once a year, what would that mean in your world? Hiring a bookkeeper and or financial advisor, no matter what position you're in the business. I'm just a hairdresser, I don't need that conversation. We are here to whip the sword out and gut and slay that thought process. because at the end of the day, you have to think big, and you have to manage yourself. If you don't have a bookkeeper and somebody that's helping you manage your books, you should. Why is that? No matter what role you play, because they're going to save you time. I would rather have every owner that's listening to this have somebody else doing your books for you, just doing all the data entry and organizational stuff for the 2 or 3 hours it takes. So that way, those 2 or 3 hours you can get back and you can use to analyze the information that the data entry did for you, to analyze and be more mindful and make better and more critical decisions in your financial life. Don't work hard. This is a work smart moment. I'd rather you spend $150 a month for a bookkeeper or more money to have the right accountant who's going to get you organized and get you the information every month. Track your budget monthly. Adjust course as needed. Save at least, and I'll just stop there because, as a coach, I actively coach about 20 salons a month right now, on a given month. And I analyze a lot of businesses that are interested in working with me. And when I get my hands on the P&L, typically they're not organized. They're not separated in detail. We don't have enough information, and it's not being looked at monthly. So if we're not stopping to look at our finances every single month and look back at the month that was and also where we at year to date, then we're choosing to run our business blindfolded, throwing darts into the future and hoping that they stick. Good luck with that. We have to get organized. We have to be looking at this stuff every month because business is so fluctual and your business needs your attention. If you're an owner listening to this, remember this message I'm about to give you. And I don't care if you're rental, hourly, commission, none of that matters as much as this. Your most important customer is the business itself. It needs your attention above and beyond anything else. So if you're busy working 5 days a week behind the chair, and then it's only going to give you the emotional and physical bandwidth to spend time working on the weekly operating of the business and not enough time to reflect and think and analyze what the heck's going on. And you have to be able to make that shift. Now is the time to get it organized while we're on hiatus. Now is the time to begin to analyze, learn, and understand. If you follow me on Facebook, every week I'm doing a free webinar. Every Monday, I'm going to be doing free stuff throughout this crisis, like I am right now. And I'm going to be teaching the world of salon finance in a lot of depth and nuance. I did an operational one this last Monday. I'm doing delegation next week and marketing the week after that. And then I'm digging into inventory thereafter. But either way, we've got to take the time now to learn and get organized and have breakthroughs in our cash flow management. Save at least a 3-month average of your monthly bills. So how do you do that? At least go 3 to 6 months backwards. And if you have not done your taxes yet, now's the time to get all that organized. And I'm speaking for every educator on this that is going to be leading through this. We don't care if you got to go and get all those receipts and spend hours getting them all organized. You have the time, do it. Get it organized. Go backwards. Get a good 3 to 6 month trend in anything you want to analyze from a sales or financial perspective. So that way you have a good solid number to go off of. Once you see what that trend is, you'll have a good idea of what it's costing you to run your personal life, what it's costing you to run your business. So you can set a goal when we reopen and when business normalizes, to set a goal, start squirreling away cash flow so you have 3 months of liquidity on hand. And I say that the way I just said it because I think I'm predicting, and I think Andrew and Derek, you guys can shake your head yes if you agree with what I'm about to say, but I believe that when we reopen, we're going to see an initial surge of people coming in for their services, but then we're going to see a good percentage of them that have been hit very hard economically in their lives. So they're going to come in initially to get hooked up, and then they might be stretching out their appointments instead of every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks. And what's going to happen is we should expect maybe have one less visit a year as a trend that we should be thinking about. And we should be thinking about that proactively, not like, oh my goodness, that's another thing that might happen to me. If you want to stay stuck in that thought, you're more than welcome to it. I'm sharing it because we want you in attack mode and in planning mode. We want you to think that that might happen as opposed to hoping it doesn't, because hope doesn't get us anywhere. Hope just keeps us paralyzed. I hope this happens. I hope that happens. Let's take hope and shift it into analysis, planning, and attack mode. Faith is critical, but faith without action is perilous. We have to act. How we act is going back and getting trends so we have a good average to work off of. We take that average and we look into the future and we predict, okay, if I'm going to see a surge for the first 6 to 8 weeks, I'm back, but then I can predict maybe 25% of my clients probably doing one less visit a year to try and recover financially, then I need to pivot in my attack. I need to then shift and think about add-ons. I need to look back at my client patterns. In fact, if some of you have been booking appointments now for when you reopen, then my advice to all of you is to go back and look in your software at their past 3 appointments and look at their purchasing patterns. Are they going to need more retail? And if you can get it to them now, do that. But if not, be prepared. What have they gotten in their last 3 visits from a service point of view? And what are they going to need not having seen me for a couple of months? So I'm prepared to make the recommendations. If they're booking for that haircut and color, are there additional services that I should be recommending that will allow me to increase my add-on income and bridge those financial gaps so I make even more of a boost? And I'm only looking at what's relevant for them. I'm not looking to do add-ons for the sake of add-ons. That's salesy and about me, not about serving them. What I'm saying is analyze their patterns, know what you know about them, and know what's going to be the best for them, and be prepared to make those add-on recommendations. And you'll begin to see in your client base thousands of potential dollars sitting out there that can help you offset the 25% or 30% that are going to stretch out their visit. This is why going backwards to get trends can help you move forwards in your projections. If this is making sense, James, tell me if I'm getting a bunch of yeses.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of yeses, but you're getting a big yes from me. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to send you my own message and read it. Good. So, you know, and I'm going to show you guys some different specific ways to do what I'm talking about, but I really wanted to bring that message tonight because this is what we need to be doing. Please remember this. We're sitting on an income producing engine when we're operating. And while we're in a financial crisis and while bills are going to pile up, we can either be stuck in the lacking conversation that naturally creates, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's human, it's our humanity. Or we can be present to, oh shit, am I coming from lack? And if I'm coming from lack, I need to shift over to abundance. I'm sitting on an income producing engine. I should expect these things to happen ahead of me. And how can we offset it? We can offset it through add-ons. We can offset it by beefing up our consultation training now. If we're out of work for 4 to 6 weeks, I'm having Zoom meetings with my team. We're going through consultation. We're really talking it through. We're talking about how we retail in the service cycle. We're getting everybody involved in the ideation process and thinking about how we can get better. That's working smart. If you don't have a will, now's the time to write one to ensure that you're being responsible for your assets and for what you have and for who's going to be responsible if you're gone. That's not being morbid, that's being responsible. You know, my brother is a paramedic for the City of Chicago Fire Department. He's out there on the front lines day in and day out. And he had 12 COVID positive runs within the last 6 days back in Chicago. And he had to stand in line last Thursday for 4 hours to get tested because they only have 250 tests per day for first responders. That's all they can afford to give right now is for the policemen and for the fire department in the city. So you had to stand for 4 hours to get tested.
Waited until yesterday. Thank God he's negative. Thank God for that. But they're telling him behind the scenes that they can expect 80% of them to get it just by the nature of their profession. Think about that. And I talk to him daily, and I say, who the hell are we to bitch about anything? You know, our problems pale in the comparison to what they're facing right now. Years ago, my brother and I managed all of our financial things to make sure that everything is there. I got a key to his place. I'm power of attorney on all of his accounts. You know, my name and my phone number and contact is with the fire department. So if anything were to happen to him, they know how to get a hold of me. Are you doing those things? You should. It shouldn't take a crisis for us to think this way. We should be thinking this way already. Especially if we're business owners and people are trusting us with their livelihoods, we have to get organized at that level. Invest in your life insurance, especially if you're not cash positive. That's a bill worth taking on. You know, because if you're not cash positive, but you get life insurance and anything were to happen to you, at least that if it's a good policy and if it's a reputable company, so do your research, at least that can be a means of supporting if something were ever to occur. This is thinking smart. This is creating security in your life. And, you know, giving yourself small rewards for great behavior. If you're following through and managing your budget, if you're hitting your goals, if we go back one slide to those habits and we're not spending impulsively and we're not buying in the moment and we're paying in cash, then those small rewards for great behavior become fun. It becomes something that you look forward to. You know, I don't care if it's dinner out, you know, and a real expensive dinner, like a nice dinner at a steakhouse. Let's all dream about that right now. You know, but small rewards go a long way. It's shifting your thinking. That's where it's at, everyone. You know, so with that as a backdrop, everything I just taught you can take for your team. Now I'm going to dig into my owners and how you can shift how you're running your business from an organizational point of view. First of all, we have to shift our relationship with our accountant and our bookkeeper. We should be getting those P&Ls on the monthly. And if we're not getting them on the monthly, we need to recreate that that's the expectation. And if they can't do that for you, find someone who will. Find another accountant or bookkeeper who will. And never should you accept from a bookkeeper, it's tax season, so I might be a bit behind. Wait a minute. Why should your client load matter to me? I'm paying you a fee to do work for me, and I need this every month. So you're either going to get it for me, or I'm going to find somebody else who will. If you don't stand for that, then you'll just sit there and keep taking what you've been getting, but while paying somebody to do work for you that you can't get your hands on. So take control. If you have software, use it for more than just a glorified cash register. Take any class you can get your hands on through your software so that you learn as much as you can, because your software gets you information. And that data, pardon me, that data, everyone, is just simply too important to not get your hands on in real time. Block out time. And this is the one thing that we as coaches don't see salon owners doing enough of. We don't block out time to reflect and think about what the heck is going on. So you should minimally be blocking out 3 hours a week in a place that's quiet, the phone is off and turned upside down, you are in an uninterrupted place, and you are thinking about what the heck is happening. And I recommend that you break it up into 4 different areas, one each week throughout the month. So let's say Tuesday, every Tuesday from 1 to 4. And by the way, this shouldn't be on a Sunday and a Monday if those are your days off. This isn't your reflection time. Your reflection time is during business time. You grow your sales to buy back 3 hours of your time so that you have balance when you should be having balance. By the by. You're welcome, everybody. I know that was a bam right there, but that's the way it has to come, you know? So your block time, let's say it's Tuesday, every Tuesday from 1 to 4. You're in a quiet place. The first Tuesday, you're analyzing sales because you just came out of the month that was. You want to see how you did and where are you at year to date. Are we hitting goals in certain areas from a sales, retail, gift card standpoint? Are we not? Who's rocking, who isn't, who do I need to coach? Marketing, week 2, because you're entering into the second week of maybe a promotion that you launched. How are you doing? Are you on track? Who do you need to coach? Who do you need to praise? Excuse me. Also, you may have an upcoming promotion 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. Are you prepared? What resources do you need? Get organized. The third week is finance, because if you're getting everything you need to in the first few days of the beginning of a new month, so your bookkeeper can reconcile bank statements and produce a P&L for you, usually you'll get it by the 15th. So that third Tuesday of the month, that's when you're analyzing cash flow and looking at how you're performing financially. And then that last week is operational things. So on that fourth week, you're analyzing operational things. You're looking at your front desk systems. You're looking at your customer service. That's when you're doing your interviewing. That's when your one-on-ones are. That's when your team meetings are. So you're not rushing from a service to then do an interview and rush to a next, which demonstrates to the applicant that you're completely unorganized. You're not rushing from a client to go into a one-on-one with a team member. Same thing. That's creating chaos in your world. So find out how much you think you can make in 3 hours of work, and then grow your sales and service over time to get those 3 hours back, minimally 3 hours. Anybody that I coach, we get within the first 3 months I work with you, 1 full day that you work behind the chair or treatment room back so that you can be focused on your business. And then on the road, another day that you get back. Because the most important customer you have, again, is your business, and block time is critical. So that we then can focus on tracking. And that's what I want to dig into right here. I have a philosophy around tracking, and it's not just gathering the numbers, and we're going to read this from left to right. Tracking just isn't gathering information and analyzing it. Tracking is gathering the information and analyzing it, and then getting your team involved in what you see. And I can't tell you how many salon and spa owners don't do that. We analyze it all, and then we come up with ideas, or we reach out to our peers to get ideas, and then we go back into our salons and we tell the team what we're going to do. That's managing something. Leading is gathering numbers, analyzing, looking at other perspectives outside of us, and then bringing all of that information to the team and asking questions. So please write this down. Managers tell, leaders ask. Managers tell, leaders ask. If there is any issue that you face, frame it into questions that you can ask your team so that they put their thinking cap on and they think about it. And don't accept "I don't know" as an answer. That's just them being stopped in the moment and really quickly pivoting and throwing the responsibility back to you. It's human nature. So anytime you get an "I don't know," combat that with this. If you did know, what would it be? What do you think? If you did know, what do you think? That opens up that creative thinking again and gets that person unstuck and puts the responsibility back on them to actually think around it. Let them know if they're stuck, like, hey, come on, put your thinking cap on. I don't care if you give me the right answer. I just want you to think it through. Because when we get the team thinking about what's going on, even if they give us an answer that's half good or the wrong answer, that's irrelevant. We got them with us thinking about it. And the more thinking they are doing, the more engaged they become. And the more engaged they become, the more they want to, in the third bullet here, ideate and brainstorm. And the more we're getting them including and coming up with solutions, the more they help us to develop it so that when we go to implement it, everybody is already engaged and involved and ready to rock the house. Then we track it to see how we're doing, and we review and make adjustments as needed. Those of you that may be independent or have renters, please don't let that get in your way. because your customers could care less about your compensation plan. They want to come in and feel amazing energy in the culture. So if you are rent whole, there's all this conversation, well, how do I get a renter to do it? By respecting that they have a say-so and that they have a thought and that they have an opinion and that you want it from them. And those that don't want to engage in healthy discourse and conversation, they might not be right to rent with you. Find somebody else who does want to engage in that. You don't have to be beholden to anybody in your business. No one. Find people that are willing to jam with you. Find people who are willing to engage with you. Think about how this came to be. Derek, Andrew, and James were looking at how can we help in this time? And they reached out to a bunch of people and a bunch of educators that they trust. And some of those reached out to others. And here we all are now jamming. That's this process right here in front of you. So tracking isn't just looking at numbers. Gathering the data gives you truth. And from that truth and fact, you're making more mindful decisions. We're not guessing. We're not coming from opinion. The only opinion I want is based on the fact in front of me because I have the numbers in front of me that are irrefutable. Here's the truth. This is what we're trending. What can we do? What's your thought? From there, we then can analyze, ideate, develop, implement, and then watch how we're doing. And here's one thing I want to say that I believe is important. I know I'm saying a lot and I'm going on, I'm teaching right now. And thank you for allowing us to do that, by the way. Sorry. Us educators, we're getting hit just as hard as you guys. And, I can't tell you how many conversations I'm having with salons that are struggling and are looking at closing their doors because of this, and that only have a month money left. Those are the dialogues I'm in right now in my life, every day. So to have a chance to actually teach what I love to teach, I appreciate it. So thank you, Derek and Andrew and James, for having me. Thanks, Nikki, for including me in this. And thank you, everybody that's here with us now, allowing me to just do something that I find to be my normal, that I love to talk about. I appreciate that, and sorry for digressing. At the end of the day, everybody, we all, because we work in an industry where we're expected to be perfect in what we do, we can't really make that mistake. We can't mess up that hair. It's got to be precise and perfect. We don't even realize, but we take that subconscious ingrained way of being and apply it to everywhere else in our business. And when it comes to business management and leading people, that's an unrealistic expectation that we put on ourselves. So let me give you the gift of letting go of having to think that everything has to be perfect when it comes to leadership and organization and management. It doesn't have to be perfect. Make mistakes. When you create a plan that you see in front of you, and you launch it, don't expect perfection. Expect it to be bumpy. Come at it from an analytical place. Be okay with it not going 100% right. Be committed to understand what is working and why did it work. We can be all celebrating, woohoo, it worked. Celebrate, but also stop and analyze. What do we do to make it work? How can we take this and put it into other areas? The other piece is, okay, it didn't work the way we wanted to. We're not going to beat ourselves up. We're going to look at what happened and how can we learn. Everything in life is a lesson. Everything, absolutely everything. Those that I coach, I tell them that all the time. You can sit over there and beat yourself up if it didn't go right, or you can look for the lesson and continue to ascend and grow in life. That's the philosophy if we so choose it. So in this last piece of review and adjust, anything you put into plan and put into motion, anything, give yourself the grace to allow it to work or not. Accept how it's going and how it's not. Accept how the team responded and how they didn't. Accept how the customers engaged it or didn't. Because when you come from that place, it gives you the opportunity to then shift. And from shifting, you then can propel yourself forward and learn. And that's grace. You're giving yourself patience. With that as a backdrop, has this been valuable so far? I still got some spreadsheets I'm going to introduce to you guys. It'll take me about maybe 15 minutes to run through them, and then I'll open it up to Q&A for me. But I want, James, if you can let me know, what type of value are people sharing What are they getting out of this? I want to know what people are getting, and is this hitting the mark for them so far?
Well, definitely a lot of love, man. You know, I think that maybe this seminar, if we had done it 4 months ago, it would be just as empowering and people would have appreciated the info you gave. I think it's even more important in this environment now. You know, you have a lot of owners, obviously, between these two groups, and you do have some stylists, but, you know, it's kind of hard to look back and reflect and say, hey, I didn't break out that time. I didn't do these plans. I mean, even with Will, you know, as a father of 3, we're downstairs, we're homeschooling, and I'm looking around, and I had to run to CVS, and I said to my wife, I need my hazmat suit or my beekeeper suit or a combination of both. And, you know, it started to freak me out, man. And I said, you know what? You don't even know where the keys are to the garage. Like, if something happened to me, whether it was COVID or car accident, you know, you start to really reflect and say, man, you got to think about having a plan.
Correct. So what are you hearing from the Q&A, brother? What are they saying? Is this valuable for everybody so far?
Keep the fire burning. Tons to bring back to my team. Great lessons. We love you. You know, they've taken classes before and didn't follow through, and now they see this and they need to. Let's see, in our regular Q&A, just, you know, didn't have the time before, and now they need to obviously make the time. Great information, great ideas. So, you know, the full gambit of what you typically get, I just feel like there's so much more impactful now in this environment.
Good. Well, let me keep progressing, brother, and I appreciate that. So understanding your cash flow is mission critical. I've been talking about that. Let me dig into some KPIs that are important for you. And I invite you, I'm going to put this up on the screen, everybody, and take a picture of it if you want. Again, you can just sit back and listen to it. I'll email the PowerPoint so everybody can have access to it. So just get present to it. Some of you know this information, some of you might not, but let me walk through some critical things for you to keep in mind. First up, you know, there's 5 or 6 ways we make money, and there's 38 ways on average it leaves. As bills, 38 different line items. However, of those 38, there's some that are really, really critical for us to manage. That our ability to manage them makes or breaks bottom line profitability. So let's dig into some of those. So if you're a hair salon, your retail to service minimally should be 15%. So for every $1,000 you do, you should be doing 150 in retail. Minimum you should be doing, if not more. I like to see a business at 20%. That's a good glory spot that I like to see a business at. If you're salon spa, you should be at 20% minimum. If you're spa, you should be at over 50%. If you're an esthetician and you're on this, you should be personally at 100% retail to service. Now, why is that? First of all, your wholesale cost is more expensive than the average. You know, skincare wholesale is more expensive than the average hair retail at wholesale. So when you market, let's say a $25 or $30 wholesale, you're selling it for 50 to 60. And if you're, let's say your facial is 50 to 60, if you're doing a $50 facial and you sell one item, there's your 100% right there. That number is important because if some of you that have salons and spas and you have estheticians, you know, while you can't keep your ear to the door and listen if they're doing consultation, nor can you be in the room, you certainly can look at that retail to service percentage. And that's your communication piece to know if they're doing what they need to be doing inside that treatment room, by the way. We really don't want to see your service payroll. This is your hourly staff or your commission staff. You don't want to see your service payroll above 50%. I like a business to be a good, healthy 40% or between 40 to 50%, but you don't want to go higher than 50 as a rule of thumb. Just to think of it this way, that's 50 cents of every dollar going to one of 38 line items that you have to pay bills on. Your retail inventory budget should be 50%. So if you are selling 1,000, your budget's 500 to restock the shelves. Your back bar color inventory, a nice lean and mean 5%, no higher than 10%. Gift cards redeemed. If you're a salon, I'm seeing trends around 65% on average, some higher and lower depending upon the business and the psychographic and demographic of the area that they're in. If you're salon spa, you're going to be around 80%. If you're spa, it's around 100%. And look, I don't care if I'm at 100% redemption. What I care more about is, am I retaining the clients that are purchasing and coming in? What's my retention percentage? Am I rebooking? What are they purchasing in retail? Am I tracking all of that? Your advertising promotion budget, minimally, if you're in the black or the red, you should always be investing minimally 2% of total sales every month into cash flow, into advertising, sorry. If you're in positive cash flow, you can get a bit more aggressive, 2 to 4%. And look, you don't have to use the 2% every month. If you know you're going to do a big event, for example, an internal event, and you're going to be spending a lot of money, then you can, the month before and the month after, the month you do the event, you can pull that 2% in to have a budget so you don't put anything on a credit card and jack up interest. So you can work smart around it. But you should always be investing 2% of total sales a month into growth-minded activities. You should not be thinking, well, oh, I can't afford it, therefore I'm not going to. That's only going to perpetuate whatever cycle you may be in. Always invest 2%. Loan payable. Do you have them? How much are they? What are your minimum monthly payments? It's important to track because that is cash out. Office expenses and supplies should be around 1.5%. Could be a little lower. If I see businesses higher, I want to look at what's being itemized under that, make sure that things may need to be pulled out of that. But I really want to see what you're spending. Do I have a shopper on my hands? Your hourly payroll. This is your support staff, management, assistants, front desk. 8% of total sales every month. That's your budget. If you're working in a small business and you don't have a front desk support team and you think you can't afford it, add up what 8% of total sales is and see how much that is and say, okay, well, oh, thought I couldn't afford it? It's just me working in here? Well, that's only $400 more a week. All right, well, what can I do? I can raise prices. I can increase add-ons. I can drive my business that way to over time afford it. When I've grown by 200 a week, I start the person part-time. When I've grown by 300 a week, they're working 75% availability. And when I've grown by 400 a week over time, now I've got that person full-time helping me. Work the percentages. As an owner, are you paying you? Or are you waiting and hoping there's something left over? You have to pay you as an expense of your business. So everybody listening that maybe is not doing that now, again, go 3 to 6 months back and look at what your bills are and make a commitment to have that cash flow on hand, pay your bills in your life so that you get paid. So the profit that is left over is profit for the business. And this is how us coaches call, this is what we call making your business sellable. Even if you're not going to sell it, it wants to be, it better look sellable on paper all the time. So if Andrew is interested in purchasing my business and he hires Derek as a business valuator to come in and look at it as a broker, and Derek looks at my P&L and he sees all the bills are getting paid, Steve's getting paid, and there's profit left over. So no wonder he's asking for 5 to 1. I have a tough negotiation on my hands on behalf of Andrew. That's the place you want to get to over time. Your rent, 10% of total sales. So take your rent expense, divide it into total sales. If it's less than 10%, that means you got a good sales volume going. If you're over 10%, that's a signal that you need to keep driving top line sales and get more clients to come in. And how much is under miscellaneous and what are you spending there? So with that being said, let me introduce you to some retail inventory management that I believe is critical for all of us. So I talked about back bar inventory being at 5 to 10% of total sales, and it's critical to look at that number. If you're operating higher or around 10%, then it's important to look at your color service mix. What percentage of color service are you doing? I've had the honor of coaching Patty Mead, who's going to be one of the guest presenters and I've been working with her for the last couple years. And my last in-salon visit was a few weeks ago before all this chaos happened. And myself, Patty, and one of her managers sat and had a meeting while I was there with them. And this is exactly what we're looking at in her back bar. We're isolating their service mix to see exactly the type of colors being sold and comparing it to the color tubes that we're purchasing to make sure that we're ordering the right mix based on the type of colors that we're doing. And that analysis is then going to fuel us look at where we can then drive color promotions to help us drive specific types of color that we want to do. You also want to look at, if you have a higher percentage there, are you charging the right price, or are we giving discounts? The price is 100 on the menu, but oh, I don't think they can afford it this month, even though they have a Louis Vuitton purse and they're driving a Lexus. I don't know if they can afford it, so I'm going to make the buying decision for them, and I'm going to charge them 80 instead of 100. Got to stop doing that type of stuff. But let me take a minute and really give you the juice here. So I cut and pasted a little bit of one of my spreadsheets here for you, and it's my retail profit calculator. And what this shows you is that your inventory budget is 50%, your retail commission is 10%. Your payroll tax is 1.2% of total volume brought in. And your credit card processing is 2.5%. So 63.7% of every retail dollar is going out to cover those expenses above. The biggest one that you can manage is the inventory one. And if you don't pay commission, you don't. I'm not attached. You know, if you are and it's higher than 10%, then that's fine. But when we're managing those expenses, we should have a 36.3% profit return on retail. So the biggest one we have to manage is our inventory, and are we ordering to budget or not? And if we are, rock the house. But I want all of you to take these percentages back home and dig into your numbers and see where you're at. So are you getting that 36.3%? But here's the big thing I want to share. Even if you're managing to this 36%, here's what I've found as a coach that most salon owners do. We take all the money, put it into the bank account, and pay all the bills with it. So what are we doing? We're taking our retail profit to pay other bills our service dollars should be paying for. So these expenses that you see here are the only expenses your retail money is going to go towards from an expense standpoint. So let's say that 36%, let's say you're selling $1,000 a month. 36.3 is $363. That should be going into a savings account, but it's being used to pay other bills. So what you need to do is focus on a plan to increase service sales over time, get that money back. But you're not just looking to increase it by $363. If you're going to grow service dollars, there's cost involved. So whatever your back bar percentage is, you have to take that out. Whatever your commission rate is, you got to back that out. Whatever your payroll tax is, you got to back that out. And whatever your credit card processing is, you got to back that out too. So you literally have to add on to the goal. I did this with a client of mine a few days ago, and we realized that in order for them to get their retail profit back, and they were going after $500, based on their payroll, and based on payroll tax and back bar and credit card processing fees, we had to add 60% on top of that number. So we weren't just going after 500. We were going after 500 times 60%. So I'll do the math for you while I'm on the phone here with you. 500 times 60%, that's another $300. So the goal was $800. So once we grow by $800 in top line sales volume, we get the 500 back. And once we get that 500 back, now we can put it into a savings account, and every 90 days, we take half of it out, 1,500 of it out, or I'm sorry, 750 of it out, and we chunk down long-term debts, loans, or credit cards. If we don't have those, we take half of that money every 90 days to invest in education and more aggressive marketing. We always keep the other half in there for rainy day money, like a situation like this, or if a water heater breaks, so I don't have to put it on a credit card and jack up interest. And then at the end of the year, we take that half that's been accruing, and we take that cash flow, and we put that into IRA. This is how retail sets up for retirement, folks. It's by making sure that we're taking the retail profit and we're putting it into savings, and we're using that money to allow it to work for us. There is nothing I love more as a coach than getting all your numbers in front of me and looking at that puzzle and helping you create long-term plans so that you can do the same thing. Please listen back to what I just taught on this over and over and over again. And I'm going to be teaching more of this in my complimentary webinars. As you re-engage, I'll be offering ways that you can work with me down the road. But for now, we all need to be engaged in what we can do to help you. But go back and get your numbers and look at what these percentages are, and look at how much money you're literally taking out of your pocket being used to pay other bills. So with that being said, I want to introduce you to 3 spreadsheets that I'm gifting you guys this evening that are important for you. So let me just pull all of them up. And let me see what I'm sharing here, so I make sure I'm doing this right. So I'm going to stop the share of that, and I'm going to share my first spreadsheet with you guys. Let's see here, and that is the average ticket spreadsheet. So we all know how to track our average ticket. I like to do it in a little bit more of a different way. So let's say I'm James, and of course I'm doing $3 grand a week behind the chair because I'm a rock star. And let's say I'm doing 600 in retail, and let's say I'm seeing 28 guests. So, and let's say that I'm keeping 40% commission. So my average ticket immediately shows me I'm doing 107.14 in service ticket and 21.43 in retail. We all can see that right here. So now that's critical information, because I can compare that to my price and see, how I'm doing. It allows me to gauge, am I being effective? But I love to live into projecting into what's possible. So let's watch this. Let's say that instead of me having my guests spend 107.14 per guest, I were to have my guests, through me making relevant recommendations. This isn't me raising my prices. I could do that. This isn't me seeing more guests. Could do that too, although 28 a week is more than enough. This is me having my guests say yes to recommendations I make, and they spend $10 more, from 107.14 to 117.14. With the same 28 guests over the next 12 months, James is going to increase his service volume by $14,560 more, which on a 40% commission is $5,824 more for James. So if I'm coaching James, I'm going to sit down and say, hey, James, how would you like to make another $6 grand over the next 12 months? Of course, he's going to shake his head, yes. Who wouldn't, right? So now we get to show him, well, hey, if you increase your average by $10 more per guest, you're going to make that. So let me ask you, James, what do you think we can be offering guests that's relevant and that can serve their health, maintenance, and well-being for another $10 more on average? And now I'm getting him to look at his numbers and his performance and set goals to improve upon that. And then from a retail perspective, when he goes from 21.43 to 26.43 with the same 28 guests, I'm shading everything in yellow, that's another $7,280. Now, if he gets 10% of that cut, there's $728. So James is going to increase his income by $6,500 over the next 12 months by focusing on being more mindful in making recommendations and relevant add-ons and serving guest retail throughout the service cycle. This is one of my favorite spreadsheets that I've created because it allows us to go in and have meaningful coaching conversations with our teams. So this is one of the resources you guys are getting from me. So you can go into your software, you can pull reports, you can at least go back over the last 13 weeks to get a good, healthy weekly average, plug it into the top of this spreadsheet to get that weekly average in there and see how the business is doing, and then do this for each individual person. Notice here, down here, I've got sheet 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So you can do one for the business and for each individual person. So that's spreadsheet number 1. Spreadsheet number 2, let me stop share. Oscar's going to be proud of me for how I'm learning how to navigate Zoom. Spreadsheet number 2 is the all-important price point spreadsheet. Now, I love this spreadsheet. What we do once we get our finances organized is we plug in our monthly expenses. And let's say it's costing me 25 grand a month to run my salon. And let's say that I'm seeing down here, and I'll shade it in a different color so you can see it, 600 guests a month. So if it's costing me 25 grand, including me getting paid, pay my bills, and I'll just make it a little bigger, I'm seeing 600 guests a month, then I need my guests spending $41.67 in order for me to pay all my bills, including me. Now, let's say that my haircut price is $35, just for grins and giggles. At this point, I can now see that I'm only $6.67 away from having all the bills getting paid. That's a really important information for me to not only attack, but get my team involved. Hey guys, how can we bridge the gap? Another $667, all the bills are paid. But here's the thing. We don't want you to be in break-even mentality. We want you to be in abundant thinking and mentality. So we're going to add another 10% on top of that 25,000, another 2,500 bucks, because we want all the bills getting paid and profit on top of it. We want the business getting paid too. That is thinking abundantly. So now when you see that I've added that in, our new goal is $45.83 and our current haircut price is $35. Now let's say our current average ticket is $40. Well, we're $5.83 away. So see, there's three numbers to look at there. Current haircut or color price, current average ticket, and then what the price point is based on our expenses and planning for profit. So in the spreadsheet, you guys, I walk you through, I give you little sentences and things to set you up. And then I also at the bottom walk you through what are the main steps you can take to bridge the gaps. From raising your prices, to increasing add-ons, to lowering expenses where applicable, and to increasing guest count. All of those things would have you be working smart to bridge those gaps to create profit. This doesn't have to be complex. Once you get that P&L organized and you take those numbers and plug those averages in here and compare it to your current average tickets, you'll see exactly how far away you are so that you and your team can make a plan of attack. This is the stuff you should be taking the time now to get organized while you're away from being in busy mode at the salon. And the last spreadsheet that I'm going to share with everybody, and let me find this one here. Let me make sure that I can see it. It says show all windows. There it is. I created a technician budget form that you can share with your team that I want every team member to get their hands on. Basically how this works is they plug in, you know, how much money they brought in, you know, and then how much they brought in tips and whatnot. And then that it automatically does the work for them. It shows them their percentage breakdown, and then they can begin to add in all of their monthly expenses that are variable and all of their fixed expenses, and the spreadsheet does the math. I've even put in those little vices like tobacco, Starbucks, candy, Mountain Dew. See that one? You know, hey, we all have something we love, right? So I added that in there. Tell your team they can change this around however they want. They can omit a line, they can add a line in, but I created a spreadsheet so that it's really easy for everybody to do the math. And then once they're done doing the math, they can see their percentages. They can see how much of their money as a percentage every month goes to specific expenses, and they can see what varies, and they can see where they can be more mindful. So I created that spreadsheet, my gift to everybody here, to give to their team. So look, you guys, this PowerPoint presentation and these spreadsheets are available to you. They are going to become available. I'm going to email all of this to Derek. He'll get it posted for all of you to get your hands on. If you have any questions for me as you utilize these things, info@stephengomez.net, info@STEPHENGOMEZ.net. Follow me on Facebook, Stephen J. Gomez. And follow me on Instagram, Salon Coach SJG, Salon Coach SJG. So I can stay connected with you guys. I'm doing free webinars every week. I'm sure as we go through this whole cycle of the Beauty Biz Reset, I'm sure there'll be more education to come that I'll be involved in. But I want you guys to stay connected, know that I'm here to help. I'm doing Facebook Lives every other day, provide resources. I have a COVID-19 resources page on my website where you can go get a lot of ideas and a lot of important information to get your hands on. So please make sure that you stay connected with me there. That being said, Derek, Andrew, and James, if you guys can unmute yourself. And first of all, let me just see if there's any questions I can answer for the next like 10 to 15 minutes here before we wrap. So I can engage that.
I wanted to go over a couple things with you that I thought were really relevant based on what you said tonight. First thing I'd like to say is I love your passion. I love that you got choked up over it, because a lot of us coaches feel the same way when we're coaching salons. The people that are coaching in this series all have that same passion. We didn't bring in people that are just here to throw a sales pitch at you. These coaches really have a passion to help these salons succeed. I want everybody to know that. I was really proud to have Steve in the group tonight. A couple of things, I'm just laughing because, making database decisions. I get so excited when I see all these spreadsheets, right? Because I geek out over them. I know Andrew does too, right?
Me too.
And I've created some too, and
Great.
I love this data because decisions should. You said decisions should be based on the data, and you were so dead on with that. I mean, if anybody can take something here tonight, make your decisions based on the data. It's available to you. I have a question for you as a coach to coach. One of the biggest problems I have is I have something similar to you. I give them a financial dashboard that they're supposed to fill out. Sure. And it is visual, right? So every month they're supposed to fill it out. So they have their profit loss, their back bar, all that stuff. They know where the percentages are. They have little gas gauges. The biggest problem I have is the pain and fear factor of owners actually seeing where they are. Now, for me as a coach, I try and coach them through that. It's important, whether it's painful or not, to know where you are now, to have a plan to go into the future. Do you have any comments with?
Absolutely. Would you rather continue to run blind and not know, or would you rather know and then act upon it? Fear can drive you, or fascination can. I go all the way back to the beginning, right, of me talking about you get to shift your mindset. So I would say as coaches, that's always should be the first place we start, helping people shift their perspective. Because to me, I'm going to waste all of my educational time teaching somebody something if it's on top of a thought that is disempowering their learning experience. So I would say once you get all the numbers in front of you, thank God you're looking at it. Imagine if you weren't taking the time to look at it, you wouldn't even see things that your business is communicating to you that you need to know. Somebody's asking me, I'm finally up where I can see the comments coming, and my Instagram handle is Salon Coach, SalonCoach, SJG, my initials, Stephen James Gomez. Sorry, Derek, back to you, brother.
Stephen, if I could make a comment
Yeah,
there, and Derek commenting to that point, that's the essential point. If we cannot accept where we are, this is where we are. Your numbers are just a reflection of what we've done, and it's okay. We didn't know any better, and now we're learning, so we could move ahead.
Amen.
But if we're stuck in who we were and what we did and are ashamed of it or whatever that may be, I don't know, then the future is not going to be so great.
Correct.
So let go, no judgment, and move forward.
Correct, Andrew. I couldn't agree more. And it's funny you're saying that, because I see a comment from Kathy. Kathy, you're saying you have a hard time understanding it, the spreadsheets or the dashboard, and how to fill it out is scary for you. I say that feeling you're having is actually aliveness, Kathy. It's when you are scared of something. You're actually alive. You've waken yourself up out of the being comfortable. You know, you're alive to something. That's a great place to be. Being in the unknown is an awesome place to be. Lean into that, Kathy. Lean into the uncomfortableness. Remember, I'm a guy that never got past algebra, not a numbers nerd, and now I am. If I can, so can you. If you want to keep telling yourself that it's scary and that you have a hard time understanding it, think about this. What we think about, we speak about, and what we speak about, we bring about. So we live in a very creative world. So if you say you have a hard time, you just created that you have a hard time. Nobody chose that but you. Nobody chose that but you. What else you guys got for me?
I would just say I love the fact of I came out of the finance side before the salon industry. So the concept of the expenses for staff, you know, we know a lot of people in the hair industry, right? So the ordering lunch out every day and the stopping at Starbucks on the way to work. What was that book, Stephen? You probably would remember about, you know, your cappuccino in the morning and the cost factor. It could basically put a family of 5 kids through college.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's sort of another way to engage your staff now, especially in this downturn, is to say like, hey, we're empowered as owners. We're empowered as salons that hopefully we have been doing the right thing. But to get the staff involved and say, let's look at crunching your expenses and find out where the holes are.
Correct. We have to. Because, you know, look, at the end of the day, your business is going to continue to operate for most of us. Let's pray for those that are in a perilous place and that they can be saved. But you have to remember this, coming out of this, us coaches predict there's going to be businesses that are put out of business by this. So that means those of us that do have the ability to stay open and keep operating, we may have stations and treatment rooms that we have availability in right now that are probably going to be filled up pretty quick. This is why we got to get butt double on this. We got to learn this stuff now. We got to shift our perceptions and we got to get everybody involved. It is a puzzle worth solving if that's how you look at it. I couldn't agree with you more, James.
Yeah,
couldn't agree more.
All the comments, everybody's very empowered. You didn't scare everybody off with the spreadsheets, man. So that's a positive thing too. I'm ready to get into those spreadsheets.
I love it, you guys. You know, it's one of 23 I have in my book, Financial Fitness, you know, and it's a journey to go through. And, you know, I have a webinar series that I created, which is 11.5 hours of me recording myself, pulling up spreadsheets and teaching stuff and all that stuff, you know, and that's down the road. For now, listen back on this today and grab those 3 spreadsheets and just have a launch point. Take the time to get financially organized with your accountant or bookkeeper to make sure that everything is in all the right places. And do yourself a favor on those P&Ls. Typically on a P&L, it's going to say income. That it should be separated into service income, retail income, gift card income, rental income if you have that type of company. Usually we see cost of goods sold. People like Andrew and Derek, we see cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold should be separated into retail inventory, back bar color inventory. They should be separated out. All of your payroll should be separate. I don't want to just see one line that says payroll or wages. I want to see service payroll, or sometimes it's called income producing payroll. And then I want to see support payroll, or sometimes it's called non-income producing payroll. Those need to be separated out because all of them have different budget percentages. And if it's all lumped in together, then you just don't know how you're performing. You just don't know. I saw somebody comment here that they wanted to know how they can access my free webinars I'm doing right now. Well, if you befriend me on Facebook, Stephen J. Gomez, that's E-P-H-E-N, not E-V-N, Stephen J. Gomez. I'm recording these webinars free every week, and then I'm uploading them onto my page thereafter. So you can just go and watch them, and then if you want the spreadsheets or templates that I'm offering, then you email me and I send them to you, and I'm available to answer questions. It's my way of helping our industry right now. You know, to get that support, you know, and more to come from me in that regard later on down the line. Any other questions for me that people have that I could answer? Where do you recommend that you buy my books? Go to my website, stephengomez.net. And I'll say this. In fact, I'd rather have you guys email me to buy my books. Because then I can offer you, because right now I haven't done anything on my website. I haven't been doing any sales campaigns whatsoever. But for those of you that are on here, you're going to get half off of what I sell. You just got to email me and say that you were on the Salon Owner Mastermind Beauty Biz Reset group and that you heard me present. And if you're interested in purchasing from me, you're more than welcome to do that, and I'll give it to you for half off. I'm not attached. I don't care if you do that. In fact, if cash is tight right now, I'd rather you invest your time and money into the rest of this series with all the presenters that are coming after me, and invest in that, and then circle back around if you want to and make an investment in my books. If you don't want to wait and my message is hitting you, you're more than welcome, and I'm willing to give you guys a nice discount to help you out, because that's what we're here for. But start with the stuff I'm giving you for free and get to work on that first, please. Be mindful in your cash flow decision making right now. Keep money in your pocket and work off of what you're learning, and then you can circle back around and purchase the bricks from Oscar or my books or anything that Philip and Mary are going to offer tomorrow. Be mindful around where you're investing your money. What other questions, you guys? Anything coming up?
So a couple people are asking what should be the total percent of payroll. We can all pretty much give a generalization. My opinion is you should always be around 40%.
Me too.
Yeah, there you
Me
go.
too. 40%, no higher. Yeah, no higher, Derek, than 50, but 40 is really a good, healthy place to be. And that's just for income producers. Your non-income producers is 8% of total sales. And by the way, that 40% is of service sales, not total sales. Let's make sure we make that distinction. 40% of service sales is your budget for your payroll. No higher than 50%, not of total sales. Do you put cleaning service payroll under maintenance and repair? No, I put cleaning service under cleaning. So that way I can keep track of that budget. Great question. Thank you. I love you, Patty. She just giving away, I love you. Thank you for helping me out, Patty. And again, my email is info@stephengomez.net. Let's see, what other questions you guys got for me?
Someone was planning on a price increase for April, but now I don't think it's the right time. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree. Now is not the time to be raising your prices because everybody is in, conserve mode right now. So now is not the right time to raise our price. I believe once we go back in to our operation and we see what the first 90 days hold, then you can think about what is my playing field and then make that choice. I'm a guy that's a big proponent of price increases, especially based on managing expenses and creating more profit. But we're in a new normal right now, so we have to be conservative around that and then watch the thinking of our clients over time as we reopen. Give it 90 days after you open, then think about it again. Cool. Any other questions for Mr. Stevie G here?
I think we're good, man. I think, like I said, everybody seemed to be really engaged and loved it. I'm kind of laughing because I was thinking about a price increase more than not just one this year, two. So as we were planning out, but what's scary is we know a lot of salon owners that we're friends with that they look like if they look at that spreadsheet and all of a sudden say managing expenses, wow, I really should have been higher all along. Or I'm sure you get this all the time, Steve, where they're like, I should have raised my prices 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden it seems like I have to raise my prices by 10 or 15% to meet the new minimum wage criteria, or, color never goes down in price, right?
No.
Hopefully that'll go down for the first 90 days, but it's interesting, but at least it gives them an eye opener.
Absolutely. And, here's a couple of things that I'll wrap up with. How will you receive the spreadsheets? Rather than me create some fancy landing page right now, I'm just literally going to email the PowerPoint and the spreadsheets over to Derek, and then he can disseminate to the rest of you. If you want to, again, stay connected to me, you can follow me on Instagram at SalonCoachSJG. You can email me info@stephengomez.net. You can follow me on Facebook. I'll be doing lives every other day, and I'll be doing free webinars once a week. I'm sure, and I'd love to come back and continue to teach here as we continue to do this down the road. But that's how you can stay engaged in me. What are my thoughts of staying open 24 hours for the first 3 to 6 months? Yeah, don't do that. There's no reason, in my opinion, to do that. There's no balance in that. Should you extend your hours a bit more? Sure. I would do that, but I wouldn't do anything like that because, you know, I don't think it's healthy, and I don't think it's going to take care of things. And then why have all the lights on and everything operating at 3 o'clock in the morning and have one person in there? And I doubt you're going to have that either. But I appreciate you asking, you know, and every idea is a good idea. It's not a bad idea. I'm glad you're thinking that way. We've got to be creative in our thinking. So there's not a bad idea, but I would just recommend that you don't go down that route. And one last thing I want to say is I wanted to give as much as I could to you guys tonight. And I gave a lot of information. So please listen to this again. And write down any questions as you reflect and email me, and I'm here to support in that regard. And I'll be jumping on and off the Salon Owner Mastermind page and answering questions as I go along. Please be patient with me. I'm working in a lot of capacities and in a lot of places right now, and my days are real packed in doing these type of sessions right now. So just bear with me. My response rate's better on my email than it will be on me jumping on social to answer things. But I am here, and I'm here to support. And be patient with your learning process. You don't have to get all of this in one sitting. You don't. So go back and keep listening to it as much as you can and gather the information and think mindfully about it. Be present to your perception and be patient. Accept where you are and where you're not. Accept what you know and what you don't. Accept how it's going and how it isn't. Because when we come from that place of acceptance, it gives us more patience to accept the way things are. And that gives us more grace. And that allows us to be the leaders that we need to be right now in our communities. I really appreciate the platform, you guys. I appreciate serving. Thank you to everybody that was on there tonight. Allowing me to provide support for you. If I didn't get a chance to answer questions, fire me an email, and I'd be more than happy to do that. Back to Derek, Andrew, and James.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Go ahead, Andrew. Go for it.
No, I just want to thank you again, Stephen. You gave from the heart, and that's what we're all about. And people have a lot to take away from this session, and your advice is perfect, really.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Steve, I'd like to, you know, obviously from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I mean that. I really mean that. You know, I was even a little choked up for your passion, you know, coming from a coach to coach perspective, right? And we had a lot of great people on board in the group tonight and on the live. Thank you for showing up and participating, everybody. Thank you, Stephen. Again, it was an awesome showing, and we're definitely going to have Stephen back on going down the line. We're going to be doing these for quite a while. This reset thing, we originally started off as a small thing. Now we're really going to keep it going as just a focus on getting this industry back on track. And you definitely have the best teachers here. So again, thank you, Steve.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And get ready for Philip and Mary Wilson. James, Oscar and I were just warming it up for the real thing that's going to go on tomorrow night. Get ready for them. Take care, everybody. Much love. Have a great evening.
Wild animals in the pool and everything, man.
Yeah, Tiger King has nothing on Philip Wilson.
All right, guys.
Take care,
Thanks,
everybody. Have a great
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.